All right, guys. I don't know how well you guys can see or hear me because I'm on the road. But yeah, I'm stuck in traffic right now. I'm in Jacksonville. I really didn't think the traffic would be this bad. It's 10:30. But the good news about this trip is I'm like 2 hours ahead of schedule. I didn't consider the time change when I left the house. I didn't realize Alabama is Central Time Zone. So that's fine and that's perfect because I just hit traffic. But it's supposed to be raining like hell for most of this trip, so I figured I would just do the live stream now, especially because the traffic's moving slow and you guys might hear me better in the short term. But okay, yeah, let's just talk real briefly about Super Tuesday and the results. And here's my quick take on everything, because I think that there's good and bad, right? The good is America said no to socialism. Period. That's the short and skinny of it. You know, for Biden to be falling apart the way that he is, it still didn't affect anything. If you look at some of the states and the way that some of the states played out, look at states like North Carolina and Virginia. Okay, those states, Bernie Sanders should have been able to win, right? Those are considered more swing states, and yet he didn't win those states. So if Bernie couldn't beat Biden in some of those more competitive states, what makes people think that he could win in a national election against Trump? See, the Super Tuesday states don't really tell the full story. The full story would be if Florida were a Super Tuesday state. If Florida were a Super Tuesday state and you had Bernie versus Biden, then you would get a real idea of what would happen. Because Florida is a very conservative state, even though it's technically purple. But if Biden crushed Bernie in Florida, that would tell you right there how the election would go if Bernie were against Trump. Because if a Democrat could crush Bernie in a state like this, imagine what Trump could do. So there's a reason why I wanted Bernie to get the nomination. Really, two reasons. Reason number one is the establishment hates Bernie. Bernie is somebody that they have been knocking. They've been trying to take him down. They've mobilized all their forces against him. So that's one reason I would want him to win. Reason number two is it would be an easier win for Trump. Much easier win. We all want Trump to win in a landslide, right? Bernie Sanders would allow just that. He would allow just that. If he couldn't win in North Carolina, he couldn't win in Virginia. And then the two states that nobody is really talking about, they were a surprise to me, was Biden taking Minnesota and Massachusetts. Those are two states Bernie should win if he were going to be the nominee. Right? People forget that Trump only lost Minnesota by a few thousand votes. Minnesota is a majority conservative state. I mean, the Twin Cities dictate that state being blue. That's the truth of the matter. And before Amy Klobuchar dropped out, Sanders was tied with her. So by her dropping out, that just ensured that Joe Biden would get that state, because she threw her support behind him. But I don't know how anybody who's paying attention could be really surprised that Bernie basically got his ass kicked in states like Minnesota, North Carolina, Virginia. States like Texas, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Alabama, are those really surprises that Joe Biden won? I mean, they're Republican states that are going to vote for Trump. So why would Bernie then pick up those states, right? Bernie winning California is not a big deal because it's a far left state. They were going to vote for Bernie anyway, right? I just think that at the end of the day, Bernie is not going to be the nominee. At first I was thinking, oh, it might be rigged. And I know the Bernie bros are all over social media. They're all talking about how this was a rigged primary. Rigged primary. It's not a rigged primary. They just lost. You guys lost. That's what happens when you sit in an echo chamber and you just assume that everybody shares your view. It's not true. It's not true. And a lot of what I've heard Bernie supporters say is like, look at Bernie's got the youth vote. That's true. He does have the youth vote. But what does that tell you? The people with the least amount of life experience believe in socialism, believe in government regulating our economy and healthcare. And they talk about boomers. Oh, boomers, only boomers support Biden and Trump and Republicans and all of that. It's like, okay, so people with the most life experience and wisdom who actually witnessed the fall of the Soviet Union, people who fled communism and socialism, are saying no, it's a bad look, it's a bad idea. So basically, they're celebrating the ignorance of the youth and lack of wisdom. I won't really say ignorance, it's lack of knowledge and life experience. So I think that's telling. That's their leg to stand on. You know, I listen to Kyle Kalinske of Secular Talk, right? Because I just don't like to be in an echo chamber. I think he's a smart dude. I like what he has to say. I don't agree with him on hardly anything, but I still like to hear his insight. Hold on, I'm gonna stick this thing on the. See, I don't want it to be like that because then you guys can't see me as well. There we go. Okay, so I listened to Kyle Kalinske, right? And Kyle Kalinske, he was saying that he believed that Bernie was the only candidate who had a shot to beat Trump. And I'm just like, man, you're a smart dude, but I don't understand, unless you're living in an echo chamber, which he must be, how you think Bernie Sanders actually has the best chance to beat Trump. Joe Biden actually does have the best chance to beat Trump. With Joe Biden getting the nomination, states like Florida will actually be a lot more competitive. Right? Bernie Sanders represents a very small niche portion of our population. And it showed. It showed yesterday. It showed. There's no way that Bernie could be competitive in a state like Florida because it's too far to the left. If he were to get the nomination, that means the Democrat Party swung the Overton window that far left. And it's just not possible that would hold up in a national election. I mean, you can't be paying attention and see it otherwise. You can't. There's just no way. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at the outcome. But I really did want him to get the nomination because I know that he would just get wrecked by Trump. You know. So that's just my little quick reaction to everything. I just think people who are screeching and reeing and just so pissed off at Bernie not performing well and they're surprised are the ones that are not paying attention and are sitting in echo chambers. You know. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I'm not going to stay on this long because I'm going to have to pay attention to the road. I am paying attention to the road, you know what I'm saying, but I got to really concentrate. But I appreciate all you guys that support me. You know, thanks for the super chats, even though I can't read you guys' comments. I appreciate it. Man, this traffic is atrocious. I'm like basically right in downtown Jacksonville right now. And it's just a cluster on the highway. But yeah, that was quite a sight to see on Twitter last night. People just freaking out, people upset. I'm like, it is what it is, man. It's not really rigged against you. When people can see what Bernie's policies would do, it's gonna be a turnoff. I mean, think about it like this, right? Let's say it were Joe Biden and Jeb Bush. Let's pretend for 1 second that Trump never won. And you had, let's say, Joe Biden and Jeb Bush running against each other. There is basically no discernible difference between the two. They're so close together. They represent the old left-right dichotomy, the illusion of choice between a Democrat and a Republican. But then Trump came along and Bernie came along. Bernie took the Democrat Party far, far, far left. I mean, the fringes of the American population, as far as left-wing politics are concerned, all support Bernie Sanders. Trump, on the other hand, was more close to the center. I mean, think about Trump's policies. Pretty much every single one of his policies have been proposed before by either a Democrat or a Republican. The difference is Trump actually delivered on a lot of the policies and his promises. And it just represents the majority. The majority of people believe that there's two genders. The majority of the people like having choice and freedom. Bernie's whole revolution, we're going to liberate the people. You don't liberate the people by having more government intervention. That's double speak. That's straight up Marxist school of thought right there. Double speak. We're going to give people the freedom, right? What's his name? Andrew Yang. The freedom dividend. We're going to give you freedom by making you dependent on that $1,000 a month, universal basic income. Is it really freedom if you're dependent on somebody for your income? It's not true. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You gotta pay attention. But man, I really did want Bernie to get that nomination. And he still might, but it's not looking good at all. It's not looking good at all. And they got a fight on their hands now because the Bernie bros will not be silent about this. And if it's anything like 2016, a lot of them will sit out and not vote for Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the personification of the swamp. He's corrupt. He's almost as bad as Hillary. Almost as bad as Hillary. And I just don't see a lot of people supporting that supported Bernie. Oh, and before I forget, let's talk about Elizabeth Warren, okay? The pathological liar, the grifter, the phony, the fraudster, Elizabeth Warren. That was poetic justice for her to come in third place in her own damn state. I mean, it's just a thing of beauty. She was so narcissistic. She just thought the world of herself. And then she comes in third. Sorry about that, guys. I guess there was some interruption there. I don't know what. And I don't know at what point it got interrupted. Yeah, it's probably going to buffer. Sorry, guys. It probably is. Unfortunately. And it's probably because I'm going through it's probably buffering because I'm going through a major metro area and there's a lot of traffic and stuff. But man, I think I was talking about Lizzie Warren losing was it was a thing of beauty for her to come in third place in her own state because she was grifting. And I just saw that Bloomberg officially suspended his campaign, which really means he understands that he cannot beat Biden. And so what he's probably going to do is throw all his money behind Biden now. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. So we'll see how it plays out, guys. I'm going to sign off because I'm going to stay focused on driving. But I'll be in touch with you guys later. Probably when I get to Auburn, which should be in about 5 hours. So appreciate all y'all. Catch you in the next stream.